Alright, so The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I've said this many times before, but that alone is a very long title to begin with that I think should have been shortened down to something more simple. Yes, I know it's based on a book, so we have to take things with that. But moving forward, we know that Rachel Zegler has a lot of things going on right now as an actress. We have a lot of studios that are dropping her left and right because of all the Snow White drama, because of everything that happened between herself and Disney internally. And let's not forget about what she's actually now dealing with when it comes to The Hunger Games. Now, we know that The Hunger Games, as far as the box office results go, is that it is the worst performing Hunger Games opening in franchise history. And this is for multiple factors going into all of this that we actually covered a couple of days ago. It doesn't just have to do with the fact that we are shifting away from Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss, but it's also about the fact that a lot of fans, believe it or not, are boycotting Rachel Zegler's movies, and also there's a handful of Hunger Games fans that really held no interest in this movie to begin with based on the marketing by Lionsgate. That's just a couple of examples there. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, the thing about Rachel Zegler is that this is one actress that really seems to come across as very pretentious. She came across that way on the Jimmy Fallon show. I don't know if you guys caught that interview. But the way that she speaks, the way that she talks about herself as an actress and as a person, it always comes across like she's very much trying to throw it in your face about what she does and what she has done. This is exactly why she takes pride in saying that the prince in Snow White 1937 was a stalker, and how she believes that Andrew Burnap's scenes could very well get cut from the Snow White film, and laughs about it and says that's Hollywood, baby. All this nonsense is just a sliver of all of the dumb things that she has said before. Now, it's even all the more revealing, has a lot to do with what her take is on the Hunger Games. Now, with Rachel Zegler still dealing with the backlash over Snow White, one major development has to do with her reaction to the Hunger Games and its box office situation as the worst opening in franchise history. Rachel went on to deliver the following. I think what's great about this film is how we have a new character, Lucy, who really overshines Katniss in a way. No offense to Jennifer, but this character is next level. She can play and actually sing. I have been seeing many reports claiming that our film was the worst performing film in its franchise, and I think that's just quite outlandish to come to that conclusion, so as far as that goes. But if that's the case, it really has nothing to do with the story or the plot surrounding Lucy, who I play. But I rather, of course, if this film is meeting a challenge, if that is the case, I think it just lies on how we are transitioning from Jennifer's performance as Katniss. As far as I see things, this film was flawless. Francis Lawrence did an outstanding job directing this thing, and of course the snubbers are going to follow the trend to claim that this was the worst performing film in the entire franchise, and I will never admit to that. It is way too early to even come to that conclusion. Not yet. It's way too early. But if we ever do cross that bridge, it's really not because of the story or because of the core characters. It's the disconnect from a familiarity that I think is the true case if these reports are valid about our status with this film financially. The snubbers just like to follow the trend also of ignoring franchises lately. It's becoming a thing that I think the movie attendees are doing just to get what they want, and it's just sad, and quite frankly embarrassing for them. This film has a very well-written story. We have some great music that I had the pleasure of making that possible. So no, I don't think that we are dealing with a true film artistically failing, speaking in its own franchise, and that it is not meeting expectations for the studios. It's just how we are seeing Jennifer move away from this story as Katniss in this movie. Now guys, let me just pause here for one moment about Rachel Zegler. Now, I mentioned in the beginning of this video that may very well be one of the reasons why this movie is not really doing all that well at the box office opening in its entire franchise. So that's one thing to kind of take into consideration. So what Rachel Zegler is blaming this movie for quite possibly failing at the box office entirely, and how she's refusing to admit that this movie was the worst opening in its whole franchise history, she's really kind of just putting full blame on the fact that we're moving away from Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss, and that is the sole and only reason why that this movie would be actually not meeting expectations financially. You notice how she won't actually say that this is failing currently, and how she says if we cross that bridge, then that is the only reason why this film is not meeting expectations. I think that is a way for her to divert from her character and her performance being the core of the problem. I know a lot of people that went to go ahead and see this movie felt that her character was just kind of meh, was kind of just whatever, you know, not really too stunning in performance, nothing too, you know, crazy or something that you would really remember that would make you want to see this movie 3, 4, 5 times. It's not going to have that lightning in the bottle as a lot of Hunger Games fans saw the previous films. Now, of course, official critics are not liking this movie, and if you guys go by the fans, you know, you are getting a mixed response on this film. There's a lot of mixed responses and reviews about this movie from the audience perspective. So, moving onwards, this is where things get really interesting further. So she goes on to elaborate again. It's just how they are not seeing Jennifer or Katniss in this film. That's my only reason. I am above and beyond confident that this is probably the only reason why some Hunger Games fans won't want to see this film by Frances. Lucy is a stunning performance that was handed down to me that I think really fits the modern female and how it gets with the times. This is why I adore this Hunger Games film apart from the others. We have a new main character, me, haha, and a whole new cast. Peter is just so fantastic to work with. She's talking about Peter Dinklage, by the way. And I am glad to have him as a great friend who supported every performance I put into this film. You just have to face facts. Snubbers love to watch movies fail nowadays, and that is truly awful behavior and it needs to stop. So again, guys, I mean, I don't know if you caught her on Jimmy Fallon. Like I said before, comes across as very pretentious, really comes across as someone that really just is trying to make herself seem like she's the center of attention, basically, is what it is, what it all boils down to. And when you look at this movie in particular, so far the box office for this film, Lionsgate is not too happy at all with the opening. They're not happy about the projections of what it's going to make in total. And we know that, you know, Songbirds and Snakes, the overall budget for this, you know, we know at the same exact time, it was, you know, not anywhere near as the Marvels or Snow White or any of those major releases by Disney and other studios out there. So they may very well be able to break even or make a profit off this film in the long run. But in isolation, not so great. Not so great at all so far. Audience members, mixed reviews. And I would like to hear what you guys have to say about that below in the comments. If you guys did see this movie, I would love to see truthful, honest opinions on this film. This way we can get a real take on what's going on with the audience perspective of this film, you know, as opposed to relying on things like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff around those lines. So anyway, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.